Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And Jacob Wile too.
And welcome to our official spoiler cast for Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So this, first and foremost, right up front, this is a spoiler cast. Obviously, if the title doesn't tell you, do not watch this if you care about spoilers and have not seen Wreck-It Ralph 2. If you don't care about spoilers, then by all means, give it a chance. Check it out. But we're just going to go through the big talking points of the movie, not beat by beat, just kind of go through like the big, kind of the big set pieces, the big reveals, all the big kind of memorable stuff that we're going to be sort of like going away from the movie, really chewing on. So with that in mind, because we didn't have time to do a first reactions when the movie first came out, all three of us saw this on Tuesday, right?
Yep.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't have time to do a first reactions, but let's go roundtable. I'll start. I'm gonna make no bones about it. It's not at the top of my list for this year, but I love it, man. I mean, this movie to me is everything a sequel should be. It's right up there with the toy. I won't say it's as good as Toy Story 3. I'll definitely say it's up there with Toy Story 2. Also, like it's kind of like in a class where I feel it's almost playing with the big dogs. Like it's not quite as quite as good as something like Shrek 2, but it's in there. It's in there. It's like I feel like this is still a heavy hitter in the animated sequels department. This is it's a really satisfying continuation of the first movie. I'd wager to say it's an even better story than the first movie. I love the character arcs of the two characters. I think it's a better balance of screen time overall between the two characters. And the real building is just really on point. The animation is very fluid and really interesting, and lots of nuanced and detailed things going on with the animation. And because we already addressed that this is a spoiler cast, I'm just going to address it right up front. Holy crap, that post-credit scene just ties it all together, man.
That it does.
I mean, that was the stuff of beauty. You know what? It's single person.
You might want to say that one again.
What?
I want to repeat that. Last thing you said, repeat it.
Hold on. The person who stuck around for my post now.
Yeah, you're kind of coming in like Hubert, Tiki.
Fuck. Do you want me to go out and come back in?
Actually,
yes.
He's gonna be fine now.
Okay then. Sorry.
Post credit. Go on.
Wow, totally killed my momentum there, but I was the single person who stuck around for the post credits.
Really?
I think I was too.
So it was amazing, but it was just kind of like me and then the ushers who were going to sweep up the theater afterwards.
Yeah, like that was pretty much the same experience for me too. Like no one else was there, and only them. Like I think even they cracked up at it.
The image I can't get over with it is the Fix It Felix dancing animation.
uh,
All right. I just wanted to bring that up front because I think it is. I think it might be like maybe the thing that this movie gets known for. I mean, it's like it's gonna be. I don't know, man. That just really was a perfect cherry on top.
it's like I hereby dub it getting Ralph rolled. I mean, is there any better name for that? You got Ralph rolled.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Why don't you go, Jacob?
Huh, okay. Like, I was actually lucky enough to actually see it on a Tuesday on Tuesday before it officially premiered. And going in there, I was like, I wasn't, like, you guys know how much of a fan I am of the first movie. So I was like going in there with high expectations, and I definitely met them, and in some ways even exceeded them. Like, there are many ways where this movie could have failed or done something wrong. But they definitely took a lot of high roads in this movie, and it actually worked out quite well. I was very impressed by how it didn't yes, there was like fan service and fan service, there was product placement, and there was even a bit of self promotion in some areas, but a lot of it was actually well done and actually serviced the plot in some ways. But that's what really impressed me is like that's one thing that really impressed me was how basically a lot of the stuff that could have just easily been shameless self promotion is actually very intricately tied into the plot almost. Another thing, like one thing up front, I also really appreciate the fact that in a way Ralph is his own main antagonist in this movie. Like there's no official antagonist in the movie unless you count the virus, which is actually
I
really
I
impressive.
literally count Ralph's insecurity as the antagonist of the movie.
That's really kind of a sophisticated take on it, like sophisticated look. I mean, you don't
And
see that.
you even get them materialized into one of the most horrifying things Disney has ever done this side of fucking Chernobog. So,
Yeah, seriously, something that let's just say that this actually lives up to the title of the movie. He almost actually literally breaks the internet. But well, I mean, like pretty much everything that was set up, if it gets paid off, everything ends in a satisfying conclusion. And another rarity, the ending is actually kind of bittersweet.
mhm.
Where like it kind of undoes the ending of the first movie in a way, which is actually a bold move, and I really appreciate them for taking that kind of route. Well, and
Yeah,
also in my opinion, it's a very satisfying sequel that ups the ante and doesn't let up.
Okay.
Dragon.
All right. Well, you know me. Ray may not be aware. I love Wreck-It Ralph, the first movie. I really do. I think Rich Moore and Phil Johnson. I think they're doing great work. I just love kind of this new sort of renaissance we've entered with Disney, like the third, however you want to delineate it, just this the next renaissance.
I think that I think technically this is referred to as the Disney revival.
Sure, the revivalist period. Yes, the revival period of Disney's been really turning out a lot of great movies, and I think this is the latest installment in that line. I mean, I loved in the first Wreck-It Ralph just the how they're going strong with the world building Disney films. It's just I think Ralph kind of kicked that off with kind of the world building Disney films. We've been getting that ever since. I mean, Zootopia, even a little bit of Frozen was kind of a throwback, but I mean, this and Zootopia really been the world building Disney films. And again, by the same creative team, which doesn't quite surprise me in a good way. And I was always just in love with the idea of like a bad guy as a day job in a video game world who befriends Vanellope. They have this cute and clever kind of. It's basically like this video game character who befriends a little girl and has this kind of this cute and clever little slant to it all, which is really nice and does bring me back to, again, I know it's the easy comparison to make, but it's kind of like kind of Toy Story of video games in many respects. And I think then the DNA is why I love it so much.
There's like Toy Story meets Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, but again, even taking the Toy Story of the equation out of there, here's the thing: I keep thinking Roger Rabbit's the easy go-to, but I mean, it's not wrong though. I think you're not wrong about it. But I just again the thing that always had me with Wreck-It Ralph was this bad guys anonymous meeting ever since the beginning. That's what's always had me with the movies. Like, okay, I'm so sold in this movie. I'm not even a huge gamer, but I'm down for it, man. I'm so so down for it. So going into this movie because of that, I was already sold. So basically, I'm sold on the movie. Okay, more Wreck-It Ralph, all the better. And then I hear, okay, we're going to the internet. Okay, this keeps getting better. Let's like, go into the internet, bigger playground. All right. And then the first trailer drops. The first trailer, then the first trailer drops, and we get this really catchy Daft Punk song in the mix. I was like, I kept rewatching that show because that kind of catchy Daft Punk music. I don't know, just that bigger, stronger, faster song. I don't know, it's so catchy and just kind of got me jazzed for the movie.
You know, I've been championing the Daft Punk for years, Dragon.
Yeah.
Daft Punk.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just so befitting of like I don't know. It's they kind of borrowed from the Marvel method with the teasers, where you have something so catchy that kind of sells you on the movie even more. So it just makes you want to rewatch the teasers. Like, oh boy, I can't wait for, for Ralph Breaks the Internet. And of course, the main thing I kept going to, aside from the Daft Punk music, the main thing I would go to is that the big reveal shot of Oh My Disney made me salivate with how beautiful it looked. Like, oh my God, look at it. All the important structures in life, all side to side with each other. Look at it. I could watch that. I remember when we talked about it. I don't know if it was D23 or what, but when we talked about when we did like a big kind of trailer amalgamation, we talked about that. I was like, oh my God, I lost my mind over that shot. So basically, sorry. When I saw the movie, I saw the movie Tuesday along with the rest of you guys. When I saw the movie, I saw with my friends who are big gamers. They're the real gamer files, if you will, and they love the first Wreck-It Ralph. So I saw Wreck-It Ralph fans and gamers, and I had a great time with it. Thought it was a blast, and I think just overall the thesis here would be I think this film heard the criticisms of the first one and applied fixes to the sequel. And just had a ball exploring the even bigger world that was presented before him with the internet, like all the options that the internet opened up, and I think it may have gotten a little sidetracked from the story, but really in places which we'll get into, but really was consistent with the first film in that, and so it's sort of a non-issue is what I'm getting. It's sort of a non-issue. We get a little sidetracked from our story, but that's not really a problem. It's just kind of something that kind of sticks out a little bit, which we'll get to. But it definitely showed the Emoji Movie how it's done, to say the least. I think we can all agree on that with Ralph Breaks the Internet.
I would say it even showed Ready Player One how it's done in terms of depicting the internet, honestly.
Flipped off Spielberg, the Disney way. All right.
Okay, so let's just get right into it. We'll start with Act One. We have the 6 years later status with the friendship between Ralph and Vanellope. I love the idea that they're going off to their separate day jobs, but they're pals. They just hang out with each other all the time. I don't necessarily think the 6 year time jump was necessary, but what I do think was interesting about the 6 year time jump was it kind of fit in line with the timeline of how video games go, where at the time, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the original Wreck-It Ralph, Sugar Rush was kind of the hot new game at the time, right?
Well, from the sound of things, that game has been around for a while. I mean, according to like some original promotion, that game's been around since '97.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I
It
mean,
kind of that kind of takes away my theory, but because I was gonna say it kind of shows like I don't know. Then that's kind of strange then, because if
Well, no.
anything,
The idea is that it was popular in the arcade, but it had been around for a while. Like people have kept lining up to use the things, and of course, when Vanellope came back, it really kind of got even more popular because now they had the Star Racer in there.
okay, so then I guess the 6 year time jump, the only thing that it really accomplishes is making Sugar Rush less relevant to the arcade. I don't know. That's the thing. I thought the 6 year time jump was a little unnecessary. I think this could have been done just as good in like a 6-month time jump, honestly.
Well, it's real time. That's why they worked in the 6-year thing. It's just like, it's 6 years later, the video game characters, they don't age, so no
Dragon,
problem.
you know what? You can never please me. You can never please me.
Yep.
You
Never
know,
please.
Incredible didn't do a time jump and I cried foul. This did a time jump and I'm crying foul.
Yep. Always something.
Just
Wham,
an
wham,
asshole
wham.
like
Never
that.
enough time. Like, look at little Temple Fugit over there. Look at the Clock King.
Oh God, I actually understand that reference.
But yeah, man, I kind of again just briefly, I mean, the status quo of it all 6 years later. It's I love seeing basically what this gets out of the way right up front. We get the old familiar because we're not going to spend a lot of time in the arcade this movie, but we do get a lot of the old familiar favorites like Tappers. I love Tappers. So we saw that, but we have the added benefit of we're picking up the ball where the movie left off 6 years ago, which I really loved in the story structure of this movie. That it's Ralph's credo is as long as that the last thing that was said in Wreck It Ralph is so as long as that kid likes me, how bad can I be? And that's the crux to the movie. And we're picking up where that left off. Where now he's friends with this kid, and they're hanging out after hours. Ralph's come out of his shell. People know he's not a bad guy. They're hanging out, and they're having like kind of Wayne's World-esque conversations on a football field. It's all going gangbusters for them. Their friendship is great, and we see again. I think very not economically. We see how 6 years has bonded them together, in kind of where they're at right now and how they're inseparable. I think that's the main thing we get out of the time jump, and we definitely justify the reintroduction to the world of Wreck-It Ralph via basically re-exploring the old stomping grounds via this new element, which is Vanellope. So I think all that's great.
And I think the 6-year time jump justifies Vanellope's boredom.
Yes. Of course, it's going to be very pivotal to the story, where we establish right at the get-go, Ralph is a guy who, he's very much going to clock in, clock out type guy. He's happy doing what he's doing. And I love that that's very indicative of his video game, where, Ralph, he's the Donkey Kong bad guy. He does the same thing day in, day out for for at this point, 36 years. And Vanellope, on the other hand, she's always again she was kind of an added character into her video game, kind of a long lost re-added character, and basically being kind of a re-added character, she needs to be like, I want to spice things up like I was, kind of the thing to spice up Sugar Rush. I want to spice things up now and again. I want to kind of take new tracks and everything. You have 3 tracks, like one of those old like, hey, you remember TV when it was like, we could only have 3 channels? Remember how much that was way back in the golden age of television? 3 racetracks, of course. Speaking of racetracks, let's talk about the big dilemma of the film. Let's talk about Sugar Rush.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun how we got that track that Ralph makes Vanellope. It was a really fun sequence. The way that they show it from the perspective of the kids playing the game, and they're like, "What the hell? I discovered a new track. I can't control it. What is this?" It's very realistic to how a video game would actually act if something like that were to happen.
Yeah, we finally
Go ahead.
so smartly we called the movie on a gag that we had in the first movie, and we actually apply some stakes and we apply more logic to it. Where when Fix-It-Felix is like kind of taking the control in the first movie, he was moving the joystick by itself, and now we see the real world implications of that. Where if you do that too much, someone's you're going to be fighting against the player. Like, how much control do these video game characters have? It's kind of like the one, just for a brief Toy Story comparison, it's like the one thing we never really see in Toy Story, except for that one time with Sid, where what happens when the toys do move in front of the humans? What happens when video game characters do kind of take their own controls during business hours? What happens with that?
Yeah, that really wasn't the best move they could have done.
What I really appreciated was the fact that Vanellope wasn't mad. Like, there was no, like, up front, there was no misunderstanding. No one was blaming Ralph for the game being shut down. Like, Vanellope, when she crashed in the mud and she lost the race because of this path that Ralph created, it was like, again, she was having a good time. It was like, you changed things up. She was not mad one bit, or the fact that, like, she didn't blame him for the game being shut down because of the whole steering wheel kerfuffle. Good storytelling. I like that.
Yeah.
Love the unplugging is such a dramatic thing. That was the thing I got a glimpse of. I didn't watch the second trailer of Wreck-It Ralph, but I looked for a second. I looked away because I realized, oh my god, there's a huge plot point. I want to see it. where the game was being unplugged, and I just love the dramatic kind of symbol of something being unplugged, and just kind of like that. In Wreck-It Ralph, where those plugs are the ports that connect the worlds in that giant surge protector. And speaking of surge protector, I like that the surge protector guy has a bit more of an extended role in this film because he was like the border control guy that Ralph always had, like kind of like that. You always was always glib to. That's what his role was in the first movie. Now we have him as just like kind of the stick in the mud, like, okay, guys, nothing to see here with the internet.
It's like, it's new, it's dangerous, therefore we fear it.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about Felix and Calhoun, because they're basically only in like 2.5 scenes, let's say.
He's doing it.
But I don't know, given the way that the story goes and how we need to focus so much on Ralph and Vanellope, I think this is kind of the perfect amount that they get. And if they make a Wreck-It Ralph 3, I'd like to focus more on these two. But for the time being, I think that the standout time they get is very memorable and very much in character with how they've already been established.
It's just funny seeing them as these people like, yo, we've been married for 6 years. You want to start a family?
I mean, I always loved that relationship, so I was like dying at the first sight of these two, like, oh my god, they're back! Oh, hooray, hooray, hooray! And then, of course, nothing from them until the end. If they didn't have that bit at the end, I would have been really peeved. It's like, come on, seriously, we didn't
I would
acknowledge
have
him.
too. Yeah, I would have been really angry.
But here's the thing that makes sense. Here's why it doesn't bother me. I mean, even just what we have as it is. I mean, aside from the fact we pay it off, which makes it better, but we didn't. They made the smart choice. They stuck with the choice not to cut back, because again, we're in the internet with Ralph and Vanellope. And if we just kind of cut back from the arcade to the internet, it would have kind of disrupted the flow. Would have taken like the ticking clock of it all off the table. Would have taken focus off. So I respect that choice.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think I would like to see a little bit more Felix in, like, maybe some shorts or a potential Wreck-It Ralph 3.
Down for that.
I think we got the perfect amount of him in this one, given the way that the story progressed.
It's like, I just love his sudden realization. It's like, I just took in 15 kids.
Then he's starting to drink root beer to soothe his problems.
That might be my favorite scene in the movie, is the tapper scene between Ralph and Felix. I mean, that scene just warmed my heart so much, man, to see how far these two have come as friends.
Felix does have a really nice bit at the end with Ralph, but we'll get there.
Oh yeah, that was nice too. It was like it's kind of some subtle humor there, though.
Yes.
It's like, I just took in 15 kids.
All right, so let's talk about the concept of the wifey.
The wifey. That's Wi-Fi, Ralph.
Right. Let's talk about the concept, like how we integrate Wi-Fi into the arcade. So we have Mr. Litwack, and by the way, I don't know why I never put it together. Ed O'Neill does the voice of Mr. Litwack. Hank the Octopus and Al Bundy does the voice of Mr. Litwack. Awesome. So I love Mr. Litwack, and the idea. He was a guy who's like he's trying to upgrade things, which includes free Wi-Fi to kind of bring people into the arcade business, which of course makes all the sense in the world if you want to get. Plus, he's probably looking longevity of internet-reliant video games. Who knows? But I love the introduction of the Wi-Fi and everything. We have the wait for a signal and just kind of this giant spaceport and waiting. It's all really great. And of course, just what gets things going with the sugar rush to of it all is our main plot of the movie is we need to buy a steering wheel because the steering wheel broke. And I love that Litwack. He's he cares about these games and these characters. He's very invested, as we saw in the first movie.
I really like how the kids are invested too. Like, they're all instantly going to eBay and checking to find the steering wheel. Like, they care about this place as much as Litwack does. And I don't know. Like, I think one of the underrepresented elements of Wreck-It Ralph in the franchise is kind of the real world equivalent. I feel like if we got, like, I don't feel like it needs to go full on Inside Out, but I do feel like if we got like at least a named character in the arcade who was throughout the movie, I don't know. I feel like there's potential there. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, there's a great sense of community there, most assuredly.
Uh,
That is really nice. They're looking again. It's kind of like Arnold's from Happy Days, except it's the modern equivalent of like, it's a video arcade. It's like, oh no, Arnold's is going to go out of business. Not if I have anything to say about it. Way to go, Potsy.
exactly.
All right, now I will admit, when they go to the internet, I gotta tell you, because I love that trailer so much, I had a feeling it wasn't gonna be in the movie. It was like, come on, why can't we do that? I'm thinking about the Daft Punk music in my head the whole time. Like,
Oh,
come on, so catchy.
that would have been nice.
Yeah.
I love how I've converted you to the Daft Punk dragon. I feel
Well, here's the
very.
thing. I love half of that song, but then it kind of loses me the other halfway. But I love that first half though. Like basically all the stuff that's in the trailer is all the stuff I love about it.
All right. So yeah, one of my favorite things is the modem box that they end up in.
Yeah, and I like how we expand upon the wire idea with the whole
Uh-huh.
surge protector wires, and we just see like a little signal being like boosted, like it's like a catapult or a cannon or like a monorail, I guess, of some variety.
Yeah, something like that.
I, I really like the idea of like it being like a little bay inside their internet inside the modem. It's like and then how that transports them to the internet.
Actually, some clever foreshadowing with the G-force effect on Ralph's face, considering that's what launches him into internet stardom later on.
What's into what I really want to know is how'd they get back?
Well, the same way.
Well, I guess that makes sense. I guess that makes sense. It just be kind of interesting to like. I mean, I know it's not important, but I just like to conceptualize these things.
Right. Okay, so I guess that brings us to Act Two then, right?
Mhm.
All right, so let's Act Two. So basically, let's talk about just the world over, like, talk about the world building on a whole here. What do we think of it? Like, just what does the splendor of the internet look like, and how do we feel?
I mean, I gotta say, man, I really love it. It's like this to me is the best representation of the internet and online that there's ever been on film, honestly.
It is
Because
pretty spectacular.
they get it. They get it. Like they get all the nuances. They get, I mean, is it like is it simplified and sugar coated to a certain extent? Yeah, sure. But by the same token, it's like there's just so much to look at. There's so many different ideas in play. It's not all just Easter eggs. There's really like a big network to it. I love how different stuff like email is connected and woven through, and of course the pop-ups, the pop-up blockers. It's spam. It's all so clever and so well integrated. It's
I
the
love how that. I love how they
at
actually
the same time.
make
Sorry.
it some. They actually make it similar to the video game world, like how these things are all living sentient personalities too.
Uh,
But
it,
we do it even better than that with the logic with the avatars. Basically, everyone who has an internet connection has an avatar that works, and it looks very much like I don't know if this is a direct reference or not because it could just be a very general like an avatar design, but looks a lot like the inner working short that I think was no, it wasn't before Wreck-It Ralph. It was before one of the Disney shorts. They look like the blocky guys from Inner Workings.
they all reminded me of Nintendo Mii's to me.
But either way, I mean, I love the logic. And again, this is my bread and butter for the movie. Here's what I love about again. This is kind of my deep love of Toy Story and Pixar is the illogical logic at its finest. That okay, if you're in the internet, how do you make that? How do you illustrate that? And we got a left and right, like okay, we're going to take just kind of the internet concept and see how it would work. Or okay, if you take out an avatar, the internet connection is severed, and you have that little frowny face icon on your screen at home as when Ralph's is accidentally killing them left and right. That's great. I mean, I love all the little basically right. The only frustrating thing about this movie is that this movie is you can't wait to get on Blu-ray so you can like freeze frame and take in all the brilliance because there's so much happening in each frame.
Mhm.
Like the tweets, I love the idea of like tweeting being like a messenger bird. Says that cracks me up so much. Like oh my god, it's doing it's something so high tech, but we're doing it like a carrier pigeon. I love it. There's a lot of
Like,
witty gags all over the place.
and like I said, it could have very easily been overdone, but I think they did it just enough.
Yeah, of course we have Knowsmore. Knowsmore, of course, the Alan Tudyk the new John Ratzenberg of the Disney films, being Alan Tudyk in a role.
My auto feels a touch aggressive today.
But yeah, I love this. It's such a clever take on the search bar. He's a search bartender. I think that's clever. It's just so great. He's the information bartender, and I love that the thing they say. We already knew how Knowsmore was going to go because of the trailers, but here's the thing I love that they wasn't in the trailers. I'm so glad it wasn't. Was the fact that he had such a desire for pleasantries and thank yous like that. Yes, man, Knowsmore has sold me even more than I already was.
Like, like, thank you. Oh, how delightful.
So he doesn't ask for much. He's giving you everything you ever need. He's providing all the autofill, everything. All he wants is a little thank you, and that's so sweet that he gets it.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
His voice is like very Bill Thompson-esque.
Yeah, that's just kind of it. Kind of reminds me of like Droopy. I mean, Alan Tudyk could easily take up Droopy.
Yeah, it is
like
very Droopy-esque.
And did you notice that his glasses were kind of like animated with like the meander stuff? Like his glasses were like semi 2D.
Yeah, yeah. The pupils were 2D, yeah, or at least 2D simulated. Yes.
Yeah, it's like it was animated with the same thing as Paperman.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, like the meander.
Oh, that's what they call it.
Yes, I think that's what it's called.
It's awesome.
I think they also use it in Feast.
I kind of see. I can see that. All right. Well, we're going to get sidetracked. We keep talking about Feast and Paperman because those are Paperman's amazing.
One of the two of those is amazing.
Yes, dog lover. I get it. Let's press one here. All right. So.
But I really like some of the concepts. Like eBay makes so much sense as an auction house. It's like
Yes, the E-Boy quest. I can't get enough of it. I just love Ralph getting it wrong with E-Boy and the fact that there actually is like an E-Boy messenger reminder system later on. I just love it.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Oh, you're right though. Yes, the whole auction house eBay thing is, again, it's a no-brainer when you think about it. But again, it works so well, and of course, basically, it's the bidding gets out of. Basically, here's what I love: the quest of the movie that starts really here with the E-Boy stuff. Is basically it's a Keen and Kel plot in a Disney film.
Yeah, totally. It's like totally self-inflicted. It's like they make a mess and they have to get out of it.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen something like this in Keenan and Kel, where so Keenan has a very direct goal. He needs to replace something. He needs to do something for his parents or whoever, Mister Rigby's or whatever. And then Kel is messing around, screwing up, and I could see. I don't. I think there might have been like at least one auction episode in Keenan and Kel. If there wasn't, it would have been played out exactly like this, where they're messing around and Kel's just like raising the number, and the number gets raised, and they're stuck with it without realizing the ramifications. But I love this tea. I love the stakes really are. I mean, don't worry, they're big for Vanellope, but they're really in from eBay's perspective, it's so simple. Like, okay, well, if you defer, then you will not be able to purchase the item. It's not like you're not going to owe the money. It's just like, okay, well, it's just going to be the penalty is you're not going to be able to buy the item.
I believe on the actual eBay, you also get kind of like there's like a standing on your account, like a reliability ranking or something that
like the percentage or something goes down, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff really isn't important to the movie, though.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to be all semantical, it's like, I guess in some way, again, they take the hit, but maybe they would be able to buy the thing back for like the standing 200, at least to be a lower number. But it's semantics, and it would kill the movie's momentum. We don't need that.
Yeah, and it's not like Litwag would ever probably buy anything from eBay ever again.
Well, again, thankfully he didn't have to spend a dime on it. Thank goodness.
I bet he's wondering where the money came from, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it's so funny that we never went to Kickstarter in this movie, and the reason they didn't do that is because then the movie would be over.
Right.
Again, they did so much with the internet, but they didn't realize there is a limitation because now we can do anything with the internet.
They actually did show Kickstarter, though. I saw the logo for Kickstarter there.
Yeah, you're right. And by the way, how ridiculous is it they went up to 27,000 and what was it? $27,001.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they kept getting higher. They thought they were playing some kind of game, but nobody said the highest number possible. Then Ralph had it a 1.
Yep. Price is Right move. All right, so our guys are looking for solutions, and they run into another great character for the movie, voiced by the wonderful Bill Hader, who's on a show now called Barry, which everybody should check out.
All right.
He plays J.P. Spamley.
A pop-up advertising some way to gain money by finding items. And
I laughed so hard at the clickbait idea. I just like I love it so much because it's so true to life. It's such a brilliant satire, and I love that it's like you're walking Vegas and you have the sandwich board guys always trying to advertise the casinos or something. It's like, hey, why don't you? Hey, you want to lose weight now? You want to earn money playing video games? Love it.
And I love the idea. I love the pop-up bloggers being like these security guards. I was like, no.
Yeah, God, you're right. That is hilarious.
Yeah, the pop-up blocker is basically like a personal bodyguard.
Yeah, it's like the ad block given personality, which is great. My favorite bit of world building, if I had to narrow it down to one, there's a lot. It would tie into it mainly would tie into the spam. But aside from the spam, I love it when you click the thing. A vehicle. I just love the form of transportation
Yeah, you're right. That was really cool.
That's my favorite thing in world building. And there's an odd infinitum of great world building in the internet concept here. But I think that's top of my list right there. That the way the clicking works in this. How it redirects you. I get the redirecting system, I suppose.
And it's really like they really thought of a lot of creative ways to personify the internet.
And of course, speaking of I think we do scratch the surface. At least I think we cover many facets of the internet here. Again, we don't go deep down, but we at least address it here. Where we address there's a good moral about being wary of the internet in this movie. Like what we see with Spamly here, where if you click on spam. Again, we don't have a direct, exactly a long drawn explanation what spam is, but you get it. Okay, this is stuff you don't need to know. You have here's the 5 things you don't know about this child star, and then we they click the thing, they go down there, and we see you show spam in what it kind of feels like with a dingy apartment, a dingy trailer, where it's just it's not a reputable business at all.
Like if you've ever been to a back alley trailer park somewhere.
Exactly. It's kind of the seedy business of cheating in video games and hunting hijacked items. Essentially, it's all very very not above board.
Gord.
Is it Cord or Gord?
I think it's Gord.
Yeah. Part of me wonders if it's Cord because of the way his arms extend. And I think his eyes look kind of plug-like. I don't know. I just kept thinking maybe it's Cord because I keep hearing Gord too.
I mean, it could be either one. I thought I heard Gord.
Gord!
Yeah.
So they go to Spamly, and I'm sorry, Tiki. What do you think of Bill Hader as Spamly?
I like him a lot. I mean, I think Bill Hader is just becoming. It's funny. I think Bill Hader and Alan Tudyk are kind of in this competition of who's going to be the next John Ratzenberger.
Yeah.
And John Ratzenberger, meanwhile, is just yeah, I might have been a jerk to Sandy, but I'm still king, baby.
I undermine Sandy Claus. See, here's the thing. He was just in character. Sandy doesn't realize that. He was in character. And I'm sure Sandy doesn't appreciate us joking about this, so let's move on.
I know. I was about to say.
You brought it up. All right. So this takes us to Slaughter Race, which is another fantastic section of the movie.
Yeah, I got to admit, I was very skeptical about Slaughter Race. Seeing, I didn't like the color palette for Slaughter Race. Basically,
I knew nothing about Slaughter Race going to this movie, so I was very surprised and happy.
I knew next to nothing about it, but I knew that Gal Gadot was going to be in it as the head lead female character in it. And then I also knew that it was kind of like this open world Grand Theft Auto type video game.
It's basically it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto Online almost.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean,
kind of,
there's
kind of.
another game. My friends kept telling me this by name, but I just like they were kind of we were kind of geeking out a mile man about it. So like they were talking about it's actually like the whole creepy clown gag is like in reference to a specific game, and
Twisted Metal.
yeah, I think that's the one. I think it's Chasing Metal and Grand Theft Auto kind of mixed together, I guess.
Twisted Metal.
But it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of the metal. It's something metal. Yeah.
No, it's
Well, it's
Twisted.
almost kind of like a mix between Grand Theft Auto and Twisted Metal, almost.
It's like Twisted Metal, Grand Theft Auto, and Fast and the Furious.
Yes. Well, no, of course. Now, speaking of that, so I got to tell you, my favorite part of the whole movie. So my favorite character, my favorite element of the whole movie is I love Gal. I think I love Gal Gadot in this film. She's phenomenal. She's this Shank character. And what I love about this Shank character is that they blended. See, when I heard Gal, I knew Gal Gadot was going to be in the movie because I knew that. I was trying to downplay it. I didn't look into it any further because I didn't want to know what exactly they were doing with her. My suspicion, I think the overall suspicion was, okay, they're going to reference Princess Diana as in the Wonder Woman, Amazon princess, all that stuff via the whole Gal Gadot of it all there. In some way, shape, or form. Of course, she can't actually be Wonder Woman, but we'll see how far they get with that. And I was so pleasantly surprised in the movie when it just kind of dawned on me, oh my God, they're doing the best mixture of all I could have thought of. Where they're blending her fast, they're basically making her a Wonder Woman mentor via her Fast and the Furious character. And I thought that was so brilliant.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite idea in the whole movie. And again, she was such a fun addition. I loved her in this film.
Yeah, and I thought the open world element of it was also really fun. The color palette still is kind of interesting, but what I like about the color palette is that Ralph and Vanellope obviously kind of clash with it, and so it kind of makes this interesting contrast between them and the rest of the world.
So, in two things. One, with the open world quality. What's so great about the open world quality is the fact that it's so. Again, it makes sense that Vanellope wants to stay in this world. It doesn't come out of left field like, oh, we had a fun scene there, and Vanellope just wants to go back because we had a fun scene there. No, it makes sense why she wants to be there. She wants to be there because, again, it is, there's no rules. There's no set surprises all the time. You have players coming in, and it doesn't work like the arcade game where it's only like one track. It's like, imagine you play Mario Kart for the rest of your life, and when you had all these other racing games out there, all these other car-related games, and you knew they existed.
So basically, can Nintendo please just make an open world online Mario Kart already, please?
Where you can kind of hop on Yoshi. And
That's what I'm saying, man. I've been asking for that for years. Anyway,
maybe someday.
Mario Kart 9, man, come on, let's do it.
So the thing I love, not only just about the thing overall I really dig about Gal Gadot's character is that I love that she and the rest of her gang have like this soft side and sense of community and friendship to them. Like they all are very intimidating and tough as nails and not to be trifled with, but at the same time they have such a lovely soft side and they're so nice. And again, they help out big time when she solves the whole wheel dilemma with the buzz tube idea.
Okay, I've got the perfect comparison to them.
All right,
they are basically the good version of Stranger Things, like that stupid group of outsiders in Stranger Things season 2.
Right.
Like, it's going for basically the same thing, but these characters work so much better.
Yeah.
What I like about her is that she could have easily been antagonistic and stuff like that, but she's actually pretty much like supported Vanellope. Like you can do whatever you want. You can come here. You can go back.
And again, to Vanellope, she's kind of that Wonder Woman-esque mentor figure, and I love that. It's great.
She's not a bad singer. She's not a bad singer. She's not a bad singer either.
Oh, she's great.
We'll get to that.
All right. So, speaking of BuzzTube, perhaps we should talk about Ralph the Meme. Now, I know you got a kick out of this one, Tiki, especially.
Oh, of course. Naturally, obviously.
I wonder how intentional, if any. Bear in mind, isn't Bowser like a popular meme as well?
Bowser?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because I thought maybe I've seen maybe one Bowser meme ever, but I'm just wondering if that's a thing, because maybe
he's no Shrek.
Well, that's I'm wondering if Bowser predated like a Shrek meme, and maybe that's where they got the idea from, or if it's
I
just
mean, honest to God, I feel like I really feel like this whole plot line was inspired by the Shrek memes in particular. Honest to God.
I mean,
I think
most likely it is, but I'm just saying like, the fact that he's like an '80s video game character, video game icon. I could buy like a Bowser type meme before.
if anything, the meme would be Donkey Kong.
No, I feel like the meme Nintendo character is honestly fucking Waluigi, if anything.
Maybe that's it. All right. I mean, yes. Regardless, like the oversaturation, I mean, the saturation of Ralph all over definitely is similar to the kind of the whole Shrek thing we got going on with memes.
And just like the weird animations and just like the what the hell am I looking at kind of quality to its appeal.
Yeah, but I mean, Jacob was right. Though. I mean, basically, we're taking this Donkey Kong-esque figure from video games, who's popular again. Kind of, we're bringing back Ralph as kind of an '80s icon here, which was great. And again, the logic of that is great. And again, it jives with what we kind of do with like memes today, which basically takes something popular or takes something iconic or kind of retro, and we bring it back in like a weird kind of modern,
It's,
all sorts of.
it's kind of neat to see like people saying like they actually remember Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of neat. That was so nice. Like these guys, like, hey, you got to remember that bad guy, Wreck-It Ralph.
Like you see, that's the kind of like inside out style storytelling that I like about this movie. You know what I mean? The connection to the real world.
Now, get the inside out tissues here. I'm going to rock you with a little story here.
Oh God, okay.
So recently, when I saw Batman: Mask of the Phantasm at the Fathom event, I again, it was a big thing for me because again, seeing it 25 years to the day when it came out, when no one saw it in theaters, and I was there surrounded by a few people. Before I did that, I saw it with my father. So I saw it with my father, who again, years later, he's basically tangentially, he introduced, he got me the VHS tape in the first place for Mask of the Phantasm, and I watched it with him when he got on DVD. So he and I kind of had a history of Mask of the Phantasm. But he doesn't quite remember it, but we did. And so he basically forgot the entire movie, but it's been years. So he's forgotten the entire movie, came in with a fresh experience, but I kind of invited him because of the nostalgia of it all. So anyway, we go to this theater, which again, the Fathom events are outside of my usual theater, so I've never been to this theater before. It's a nice, swanky theater. We go upstairs, and there's up the stairs. I know that tells you it's a big, swanky theater. So we go up the stairs, and there's this arcade. Again, I had no. Oh my God, there's an arcade here. Which again, sometimes we have like games inside like a movie theater, but there's like a whole arcade section, like an actual arcade section. And there's like the Batmobile game that I played before, and back when they used to have it in my movie theater. Now they're trying to class it up, so they got rid of all the arcade games in my regular theater. Anyway, the point is, they had all these games and stuff, and prize machines and such. And in the corner was was a classic Pac-Man machine. And my father, he when he growing up, he loved. He basically grew up next to arcades, so it's been years since he's played Pac-Man. So he and I both played Pac-Man on a very classic machine, basically very similar to like a Wreck-It Ralph machine is what I'm getting at here, like kind of a classic.
Nice.
Old school video game, and like right outside the arcade was this giant advertisement for Wreck-It Ralph 2, and basically Ralph and Vanellope with a little Wi-Fi thing. It's a big old advertisement for the arcade on the side. It was really, really nice.
I love how the Wreck-It Ralph meme is kind of foreshadowing for what eventually happens with Ralph.
Yeah, it plays to the meaning of breaking the internet. Like he becomes extremely popular, but then then he becomes immortal. He becomes famous, then he becomes infamous.
That's the thing. That's the great thing. He both metaphorically and then literally breaks the internet, which I thought was a great idea.
Heck, the title itself is foreshadowing in a way.
It is, and again, it's kind of almost like a misdirect of okay, he's breaking the internet, like we're used to people breaking the internet with like big news or something or big or other such things. We're not going to talk about here, but yes. Speaking of Yes, let's talk about Yes, the character, Taraji P. Henson.
Okay, I want to say that I think it's really interesting that both Ralph and Vanellope have these kind of like mentor type figures who both of them exhibit character qualities where they could easily do a misdirect, like a stupid Disney twist villain reveal, and they don't with either of them, and that's so refreshing because I am thick of the Disney twist villain. I think that's a trope that needs to die. It's been played out. Like if anything, I feel like it lessens movies usually when it happens. Like I feel like by far the weakest part of Zootopia, for example, is the Bellwether storyline.
That's kind
Like
of
don't
funny.
get me wrong, her plot in itself is really good. It's just I think the way it was revealed was just weak.
What's kind of
But
funny? It's kind of funny that the first Ralph actually kicked off that trend.
yeah, yeah. But this movie just subverts it, and we'll talk about the actual villain of the movie later on. But
But like,
I love Yes as a character. I thought she was really infectious. I like how she changed costumes every scene. I love the scene that's being constantly played on the commercial spots. I noticed when I was watching football yesterday at Thanksgiving, the whole heart, 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 heart.
I mean, she's like the war. She's like an aging character that we've seen in so many shows. Like it's like BB from Frasier, just like babying the client. They're like, "Oh, look at you!" And she's like, "Here, heart, heart, heart." It's just like having all this fun with him. And you're right, Tiki. I'm so glad you point out. Yeah, she is that mentor figure for Ralph, and it's such a great reflection. And thank goodness, not a bad. Because I got to tell you, going into this movie, I thought she was going to be the bad guy.
I think everyone did.
even many people they saw like a particular shot of her like, yep, she's gonna be the villain.
Yeah, yeah.
I think she's known for playing a villain. One of her things too. I think she's on that on a TV show where she plays a bad
Empire,
guy.
I think.
Yeah, I think it's she's on. Yeah, I don't
Uh-huh.
watch it, but I keep seeing the promos, and I believe that's her. Yeah, she's the bad. I mean, I believe she's the bad guy or she's really intense in that show. One of the two. But yeah.
It's actually kind of interesting to see someone like that, like as I mentioned earlier, like these two characters could have easily become villains in their own right, and they had plenty of reason to do so, but they didn't.
You know what's funny? Just real quick, I wanted to bring this up to get your take on it. I think there's a reference to B movie in this film.
Well, if any, like I think beyond what you're gonna say, I think the Ralph memes could also be a reference to B movie.
No, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The B puns in reference to like of all
Oh
like.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah, yeah, for sure.
I like jazz.
Ugh, man, B movie had its moments. I don't care what anyone says. It had its
Remind me what
moments.
the fake out food was that Ralph was gonna eat, and then it turned out to be the bees.
Well, no, it wasn't. I don't know if it was. It wasn't food. Again. This is a fun foreshadow too. It was a box. It was like I go through these things all the time. A little prize box. Thankfully, none of them have included like copious amounts of bees. Thank goodness. But the little mystery mini things, and you unbox them, and it was basically for the milkshake and the pancake bunny and the kitty. It was basically that's what was on the box, like a little prize line from that game.
Oh,
That is a. And it's kind of funny, like seeing Ralph like in all these like different kind of like referencing the real world stuff. Like he even got dressed him up as Bob Ross.
Now that was hysterical. Just thinking, that's a meme. I wonder if that's going to catch on. Just the Bob Ross meme of just everybody and their mothers kind of going as like Deadpool's going as Bob Ross, Ralph's going as Bob Ross. Who knows?
Like mainly because Ralph had an afro.
Groot is Bob Ross. Who knows?
okay, really quick, I want to just point out that not only is the bee thing a reference to B movie most likely, but I feel like by the same breath, it's also a reference to oh God, not the bees.
You know what? I think that's a good call, T. I think it's a smart call. I think you're on the money with that. I think if anything, it could definitely be more of a reference to that. But B movie definitely.
yeah.
Again, the meme plot stuff like could have easily overstayed its welcome, though. I was like, at least like you didn't just do it for the
I
sake
think
of.
they work the memes in a subtle enough way, and the memes are actually relevant to the plot. So I give it all the credit in the world.
Like Ralph was doing it to get them to get enough money. It's like you could tell he probably didn't even want to do a lot of that stuff, but he had to do it for the sake of the wheel.
There's something I really want to talk about here because I think this is a huge moment in the movie that we don't do enough with, but it's a great moment that we really. I feel a part of me. This is like builds into one of my. This is like the seed of the flaw I'm going to get to a little later on here. I love the moment where we have this really impactful, bold moment. And again, it feels like so from the guys who brought you Zootopia, a moment like this where Ralph he sees the comments section, and I love it as the audience, myself and everybody around. It's like he goes to the comments section, but like, no, Ralph, don't
Yeah. As soon as we
go,
see comments, we're like, no, don't do it, don't do it.
don't
Don't
do it. But he goes there, and you see Ralph's heart get broken again in a PG way, which again I appreciated. But I thought it was kind of nice. I like that we're educating children still, like just scaring them off things. We're saying like you're feeling Ralph's pain. Again, Ralph's a character. Again, we spent the whole movie
If this was
empathizing
the
with.
real YouTube comment section, it'd be a very R-rated movie.
Yes, well, at the very least, it'd have to do like a little kind of Kubert talk for the whole thing. You know?
yeah.
But seriously, I mean, I thought this was a really great moment, and I wish we could have. A part of me feels we could have spent more time on it.
Like, the main thing I appreciate about those, I like Ralph like brushed it off because he's so used to it. Like he was used to it for 30 years.
That's true, but here's the my problem is here's the frustrating thing. It feels like on one side we spend enough time with it because we don't go to a predictable place where it doesn't. We don't go to the predictable place where okay, Ralph's now dejected and he's not doing any more memes, and then it's like now that's why they can't get the last of the hearts up there. We don't do that, thankfully.
Yeah, the only thing is it really doesn't have any payoff.
I mean, here's the reason because I felt it was such a great moment, and you're right, Ralph has suffered through that. We unfortunately we don't really state that, which I feel I don't know. I mean, reading into it again, it plays enough. It plays enough, and it's fine. But I just feel like he gets over a little too fast. Like that scene,
I mean,
it's like too good to go over to be over
he,
that fast.
yeah, he actually does mention that he put up with it for so long, and the fact that he doesn't need anyone else's validation other than Vanellope's.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
But so he does mention that, but the only mention other than that is like he doesn't have any payoff. Like the negative thing comments really don't have any payoff to the rest of it, other than like saying maybe he's declining in quality.
And it basically, in the movie, it's the first indication of it's not all roses on the internet, which is an important lesson because the movie is like, again, could be like an unhealthy advocate for like, hey, just spend all your time on the internet. It was like, no, guys, there's some not so sunny sides of the internet too. Let's be aware.
And then right after we get that scene, we go to
Oh my Disney!
oh my god, dude! Like seriously, just this is just it's blatant fan service. But you know what? I'm a Disney fan. I feel like I am being serviced, like Kevin Smith says. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny? I actually took because of this, because we actually took the Princess BFF quiz.
Oh god,
There actually is one on the Almighty because I just thought it was such a charming.
Dragon, I'm dying to know who is your Princess BFF.
Okay, so I took it twice just to be sure. Okay, so the first time I got Snow White.
Oh, that's like the worst one to get.
Okay, to be fair, the second time once I got Lay of the Land, I got Merida.
You got who?
Merida.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense given the Pixar ties of it all. So.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyways, I'm just so charmed by it because you have these quizzes all the time, and just seeing like it gets so adorable. Like, okay, we bond with the actual princesses on the internet.
Like the quizzes are basically the princess's day job.
Yeah, it's like a live show. I love it.
Oh, gee.
That's a nice little event that goes on down there. And basically what we did with Oh My Disney is we made kind of a makeshift, basically the Disney that we want to exist even more so than basically the ultimate amalgamation of like the four main properties that Disney has, like all confluence in the same area. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I forget that money shot too. I'm just drooling at one of the movies, like, oh, look. And then we got something that just blew my mind. I was like, okay, thank you so much. Like, I believe me, we could have done more, sure, because there's so much to do. But I mean, believe Buzz Lightyear and Baymax in the same frame. Buzz Lightyear, though. Disney,
Yep.
you don't get it. I warned you guys this when we saw that first trailer way back when I was like, all they need to do to impress me is I want to see Disney animate Buzz Lightyear. That's all. Disney animated Pixar character.
Right.
And I know we were going to get that with Merida, but I mean, we saw Buzz Lightyear animated in the Disney style. Like, oh my god, it was animated almost like the Avatar version of Buzz Lightyear too. It was like, yeah.
I don't know if Tim Allen actually recorded it or they just reused the voice clip, but it was pretty cool.
I'd like to think they used them live, but you never know.
It would be pretty interesting if they actually just got him to record that line, just like they just like, okay, record it for legitimacy's sake.
Well, it's got to be saying all over the place for for Toy Story 4.
Yeah, they could have done it. They could have just like reused that or whatever. But
I
Or
mean,
it could have just been like while recording Toy Story 4, like, all right, Tim, we're going to do one take for Wreck-It Ralph. You ready?
yeah.
to infinity and beyond.
All right,
Would-
good, good. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Tim.
Here's your
All right,
paycheck.
let me know how it goes. Tom, stop crying. The movie hasn't come out yet. Let's go.
God.
There's no crying in Pixar.
I swear to God that like that disturbed Tom Hanks thing is going to be a meme before Toy Story 4 comes out.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
anyway. So again, there's so much here. I mean, of course, let's talk about one of the great Marvel sections over here. Of course, we had Brad Garrett as Eeyore. Again, Brad Garrett from his Christopher Robin recording his Eeyore.
The best part of Christopher Robin, I might add.
He is really great. But
He
I love
really-
a little bit where Vanellope's like patting them on. It's like, oh no, not you though. You're fine.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I love we didn't get this in the trailer. I love that we had Vanellope as the spokesperson with her own like little clipboard, her own little like advertisement to watch the Ralph memes. I just love her
Like
being
she's basically spam on Oh My Disney.
and I love that it's a connection of like Ralph is putting her in a safe place. He's looking out for her, like making sure she doesn't go all the dark places in the internet here, making sure
And you
she's
know what's interesting is that Disney in itself is typically a very well protected website that doesn't get any viruses ever.
yeah.
And so it makes sense that they have a fucking force of stormtroopers enforcing the spam.
Nice.
Like that's just a logical logic at its finest.
It is. It is. So, of course, the Groot Q&A. We had that. That was
And as
hilarious.
soon as I saw the fanboy asking the question, I thought that's where we were going to get our Stan Lee cameo.
But we did get a nice little. We got kind of a rare. We got a rare. We got almost a more true to life Stanley cameo, like an early days Stanley cameo where he didn't always speak. Remember, like basically the Sam Raimi days of the early Sam Raimi days, like the X-Men days of Stanley, where just again good cameo acting. Where he's I keep thinking of Stanley. And for folks, check this out because the man is dearly departed. And then Kevin Smith spoke really beautifully about this. Just for anyone who hasn't seen it, check it out. It's the Age of Ultron Stan Lee School of Cameo Acting. It's really great, really nice. Everybody check it out. And the point is, just Stan here. He's one of the avatars, just kind of being like been up and pushes like like excuse me, and just then walks through. And you see him there. I think he waves. He may or may not wave. I'm not sure, but he's just you see him there, and it is Stanley.
But how great would that have been if this kid was asking this really overlong, convoluted question, and then Stan would just say like, "Look, kid, you're taking this stuff way too seriously."
Maybe who knows? Maybe that's what Groot said.
He's not wrong. I do love Vanellope as again as the consummate salesman, just kind of interrupting lines. Just let me answer that for you. He is Groot. Like that just cracks me. And here's the thing that kills me about this. All right, I love the fact, and I don't know if this is because the movie might have been in production for this long. I don't know. I maybe, but might not be. But I wonder if they're using the Guardians. They're using the Guardians volume. Like Groot is promoting Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 because it's Baby Groot in the Red Ravager little outfit. I just love the little specificity of that because one, that's how we get Baby Groot for the little cutesy effect. Yeah, so it's a necessity, but still, it's like he's doing press for a movie that's already come out for us now. Basically, he's doing press for the Disney Plus streaming service that hasn't even started yet officially, which is funny. All right. Yes, I'm sorry. We should get to the meat and potatoes of it all.
The princess.
Sizz.
Yes.
Yes. I always told you that this. I love the fact that it's like a room. It's like the green room for the princesses is like the little meet and greet area at Disney World. I love that it's like when you go in line or when I was young, you get in line, you meet them all, and you have like that little back room area, like they're all like have like a little standee behind them. It's really nice. It kind of reminded me a little bit of that. I have all these dressing rooms built into the set that leads there. They kind of homage that with like Penelope run away from the stormtroopers, and then like the princess room.
Yeah, by is the fact that we got about like I feel like they could have teased the princesses more in the marketing, and instead they really let loose with about 80% of the material, at least in this scene.
Yeah, the marketing. Again, watching the rest of the trailers after the movie, I did realize if I had watched the rest of the trailers, it would spoil all like the gag that made me laugh so hard in this princess scene. Just this whole, they really took a shot at Merida. They really
Well,
did because that.
I feel like the marketing, it's almost like this princess scene was like a sacrificial lamb to the marketing department so that the whole rest of the movie could pretty much go unspoiled.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's not much that they could show without giving away something.
Exactly, but still, I was lucky that I came in surprised with that whole gag. Where initially I was like, had the shock and awe of like, no one can understand Merida, which is basically describing the plot to Brave. Because here's the thing, I don't know if this is crazy, and you guys can fill me in on this. All right, so tell me, I was watching the trailers. I saw the movie, and then I was watching the trailer. In the trailer where they had this gag, you hear her clearly, you hear a little more clearly talking about the whole plot of Brave, where mother turns into a bear and all that stuff, and then basically it sounds like they. But in the movie, I think it's more inaudible. Like you really can't understand her.
Yeah,
I can see that, yeah.
it's completely different.
It is.
Anyway, I don't think anybody even knows exactly what she said.
That's the thing. I guess they either translated for the trailer or what, or maybe it's just, I've heard it twice. Maybe I can understand it better. I don't know. Like almost like you hear it a second time. Like okay, that's what she's saying. Like I don't know, but I love the guess. Well, I was initially it was like, oh, we can't understand. Oh, we can never understand. It was like, oh wow, they just took a shot at Brave, and then they have the gag that makes it all worthwhile. It's just she's from the other company.
Ah.
I laughed so hard during.
She's
Oh,
from the other.
goodness.
She's from the other studio. Ah.
Yes. Oh, it's great.
And what's great is that like when Nelvy's like all soaking it in, like yeah, it's like yeah, but like she's soaking it in like she knows what's going on.
Yeah. But seriously, I mean, all the princess stuff there, the fact they're all kind of palling around in kind of the sweats and basically in the comfy clothing and everything is really nice, and they're all kind of being all palsy and teaching her how to sing about her "I Want" song, and just that's great.
uh, again, something that actually services the plot.
Yes,
It's amazing how much they. It's amazing how much this stuff actually pays off later.
and we got C-3PO saying, calling him Prince.
Oh my god, I love C-3PO as their personal assistant. That was
I
wonderful.
love the animation of this. They basically it was done with such love for C-3PO being all rickety and everything.
And the fact that they actually got Anthony Daniels to do it.
Of course. I don't think there's ever been a time where Anthony Daniels has not done the voice of C-3PO, to my recollection.
I think there's been a few occasions.
I mean, I can't remember if he did the voice in Droids or not, but if he didn't, I can't really think of any other point for that. Maybe like a toy voice, maybe.
But he's like, there'll be another Disney princess quiz in 15 minutes.
Basically, C-3PO as Scooter.
Oh, that's great.
All right.
I mean, it's a shame we didn't see more Muppets in there, though. I mean,
That's like the out of all of them. That was
I wish we would have seen at least a couple Muppet standout scenes.
But we did like that for every character in all fairs. Like each of the four mega ones that we could have seen. Well, at least 3 out of the 4 because Disney. I mean, they're all over the place.
I mean, they did show a huge section of it, like in the huge money shot, like with Marvel, Star Wars, and animation stuff. There was the Muppets in there, like they had the big Kermit head. So it's. I mean, we saw like all kinds of games. Like we saw Grumpy, Nick Wilde, all kinds of the Stormtroopers, all kinds of stuff.
Shadow of Peter Pan, which is cool, and Pepe from Moana. He had a whole bunch in there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for like various like reasons, like animation, like maybe to ruin the illusions, they didn't show the Muppets, but.
Whereas
Like,
Iron Man got in there because he can fly. No Captain America, just because Iron Man can fly.
Overall, that scene was very fun.
Yeah. All right. So I think I mean we believe we can go on just like picking out like oh look there he is on Oh My Disney, but I think we should probably talk about the big betrayal of it all. What do you think?
Yeah, this is where the movie really kicks into high gear and I think really deserves its place among the great animated sequels, man. I mean, from this point on, it's really ballsy, but I mean, god damn, it's such a terrible thing for Ralph to do, but by the same point, it's like it's realistic and it fits within the context of the plot, and it fits with everything that we've seen of the characters so far. So
I gotta.
it's one of those moments where it's not a liar revealed, it's not a forced misunderstanding. No, it's just the character making a really shitty choice, built upon the character development that we've seen throughout the movie.
I gotta tell you though, this is where I hit my problem with the movie. So, so here's the thing. Like, I love the movie, but there's an issue that happens, and this is where it is. My problem with the movie is that Ralph, I feel, is somewhat malicious in this plan without seeing it. It just feels he's out of character with this part.
I mean, you're not wrong, Dragon. You're not wrong. He is malicious, but I feel like, as I said, I feel like the movie kind of builds to this breaking point, and I don't necessarily feel like he's out of character. I think the movie did a good job of establishing that while this is a shitty thing for Ralph to do, it is something where, we've been building up the fact that Ralph is just so desperate to stick with Vanellope. He's willing to go to this place. It's an act of desperation, sure, but
I'll tell you
I don't
what.
know. I thought it was a really grown up and adult choice for them.
I'll tell you why it's not out of character. Keep in mind, he left the he left his he left the keep in mind the plot of the first movie. He was willing to game jump and ruin his own game just to get some recognition.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he always intended on coming back, though.
I mean, there's that, but it's entirely. I mean, but think about it. He doesn't really think things through. He doesn't understand the implications of everything he does.
I know. Here's the thing. Let me finish here. So here's the thing. So, I mean, it starts with him acting a little out of character for my taste. But here's where, I mean, this is the main problem that it feeds into for me with the movie. The only real thing I have against the movie is that it kind of stems from he overhears Vanellope's talk and doesn't help that Vanellope doesn't fill Ralph in on what's going on. Like, she never calls him, tells him that she's not coming back about this decision. Like, she holds off on this, and the fact that she's left Ralph waiting there for God knows how long, that's not helping. But the problem for me is that this leads to things start to turn predictable after this move, and that's a problem for him. And the movie is doing such a great job.
Really?
Yes, think about it. So that's again. Here's the thing. I want to make it clear. I don't hate this or anything. I'm just saying it's the only time where I'm not impressed with the movie. Where I'm thinking, well, now we're going to go.
No, just like you and I are just kind of on really different wavelengths about this, which is weird.
It's just that Ralph sabotaging the game, and you, the audience member, know, okay, well, obviously this is going to go terribly for Ralph. They're going to have a split, and then something's going to happen. It's going to bring them back together, and we're doing so great everywhere else in this movie. Where we're not doing, but again, I just feel it's the only time it really turned. It only turned predictable, and again, because of these characters not really communicating their thoughts to each other. Which, I mean, again, it's not. It plays fine. It doesn't hurt the movie at all. It just feels like it's just lacking, and I think this is what holds it back from kind of exceeding like the first movie or something. This is the thing I can't say like, yes, this is holding it back a little.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Ralph is trying to hold Vanellope back, which, again, it's a true life situation. I get it, but it's just all I'm saying is it's a hard sell. That's my issue. Again, it plays, but it's a hard sell for me.
I don't know, Jacob. Break the tie on this for us.
I mean, the way I see it, these kind of cliches and plots exist for a reason, like because they work well. And I think this movie, I think in a way they did it fresh enough to where. Yes, it is. Like, you can see it coming, but the way I see it is like, it's going to come, but you don't know how it's going to come.
Let me put it to you this way. In the first movie, you had the big scene where Ralph and Vanellope, they have their mini falling out. Where again, it's not necessary. I don't know if you want to call it a liar reveal or not. It's not exact. Again, it's not.
That's the thing. I feel like the first movie, it's like it does it. I feel like the first movie's big falling out is more contrived than this. I feel like this is a much more organic way to get the falling out because we've been kind of building to this point the whole movie.
Well, that's where I disagree. In the first movie, here's the thing.
Fucking points for subjectivity, Steven. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. I'm saying, like, in the first movie, my point is, like, in the first movie, they have their little falling out, and their falling out there is from a place of Ralph is trying to protect her, and she's a kid, and she's just not listening because she's upset with him. Where, again, Ralph is not making a decision in the wrong there because he knows the situation. He was trying to help her, and it wasn't necessarily it wasn't necessarily a liar reveal. It was just, I don't know. I think it was a little bit, didn't play as conventional in that movie there. And I guess the simple way of putting it is, if I'm watching a movie for the first time, I shouldn't be feeling that something's a little off or a little been there, done that on the first watch. I could feel something was off when I was watching the movie when that happened. Like, oh, Ralph's trying to sabotage her, and obviously this isn't going to work out well. And why, I don't know. It just felt off.
All right.
It feels off that's going to happening there. So, but anyway, we go to the dark web. So let's talk about that. Going to the dark web with Alfred Molina as a double Dan.
The reason I came to your neck of the face, I mean, there's a face in your neck. I mean, woods.
Feels so Total Recall-esque,
Thank you for your assist face. Dude, they had a field day with that, I could tell.
I mean, obviously, with the deep web, you can only go so far with it, and this is a very sugar-coated, and obviously, we're not going to see 99% of what you actually see on the deep web in this movie, but
they're talking about viruses and everything.
The disturbing character design on Alfred Molina kind of it's sort of illustrated yeah, this is a pretty messed up place to go. You're going to see some deformities here.
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of glad. I mean, if there's anything else, they probably would have shown something like that, but I'm kind of glad they didn't here.
Yeah. And that virus that we do see is quite terrifying, though.
An insecurity virus, which is actually, I thought was a pretty creative idea.
Yeah, it looks a lot like a trash monster from A New Hope. The monster in the trash compactor.
Mm-hmm.
I liked. So I guess long story short, all of this Ralph just wants to damage it enough to make her think that it's her fault that she's glitching out, which is a plot line I thought we were going to do in the first movie, by the way. The whole her glitching would affect the game, perhaps, but
that's kind of weird. I mean, that's the kind of part where I thought where it wasn't entirely out of character, out of malice. I mean, There was selfish, and Vanellope even calls him out as he was being a bad friend, but I don't think he was doing it particularly out of pure hatred or malice.
Well, no, not malice, but he's trying to hold her back in life. Which, I mean, again, I'm on the fence about it, to say the least. All right, I'm not begrudging it entirely. I'm just saying it feels off.
I'm just saying in other places it's entirely intentional. Here, it's he doesn't really understand what the harm it could do. I mean, that's where I think it's still in character for Ralph.
Right. All right. Well, getting to the breakup itself after everything kind of goes upside down. Yeah, we have the breakup. It's very sad, and the tossing of the cookie. No, I don't mean someone's getting sick. I mean literally the tossing of the cookie.
Oh, that was heart-wrenching.
Yeah, literally heartbreaking, one could say.
Yeah, heartbreaking.
And again, what I love about this, though, I love the symbol of this. And again, here's what I do like this about the breakup, though. I love the breakup again, given what we've been through in the first movie. As long as that one kid likes me, how bad can I be? And again, we see it in its full glory there. The one person that he's defined himself by hates him now. But now Ralph has done something bad. So I'll give it that. I do like that we kind of go that we kind of get to that place with it where we're following the thematic idea. So that's great.
And of course, at the end, I guess they keep saying it had a great payoff.
Yeah.
Are you trying to say something, Tiki?
No.
All right. Okay, well, I guess let's talk about, speaking of the virus and the insecurity, let's talk about the insecurity virus. Well, the full spectrum of what the insecurity virus does.
Well, I just really thought it was a kind of an interesting concept. It's to copy insecurities into code, but I guess technically, since video game characters are code, it would kind of make sense for them to copy the insecurities of the characters themselves too.
And remember, they're video game characters in the internet, so again, that's not exactly jiving, because as we established earlier in the movie, everybody has a user history, or everybody has an account or what. Basically they're humans using the internet. That's the way that goes, and the gamers are Well, I don't know. It's kind of tricky territory because I mean, for the most part, everybody factors in the internet. I don't know exactly where Slaughter Race fits into it all there. But oh my god, I'm sorry. I just realized we talked over. We got to talk about the song real quick.
I guess I guess we did forget the song.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. We should probably. I'm sorry, Dig. You want to leave to the song?
Yeah, I mean, the song is really good. It kind of almost reminds me of like a Family Guy parody of a Disney song, which is great.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that Alan Menken has made a history recently of making parodies of his most famous works.
Yeah. Gallivant, of course, being a big example.
Of course, of course.
I mean, Gallivant, Enchanted. I think he even worked on Sausage Party.
Well, can't all be. Can't all be hits.
Well, to be fair, I think the songs were probably by far the best part of Sausage Party.
All right. All right. So, but we had like a shark with like three, eating three dogs, and they were all like singing in unison. It was great.
and then
Like,
the important water.
yeah, and again, it was so bizarre. Again, you're right, T. You're absolutely right. It's a parody of a Disney song with such kind of like self awareness to it. It was hilarious.
It's kind of funny that that there's actually a planned song in the first movie, but it's kind of funny that it's interesting that they brought it back into this one.
And of course, it's a duet with Gal Gadot.
Yeah, and, surprisingly, Sarah Silverman has a good Vanellope singing voice.
Yeah, and again, initially I thought when they're doing the gag in the princess room, I was thinking, oh right, I guess Sarah Silverman can't sing because I didn't know. I legitimately, I've seen her do stand up. I don't know if she can sing or not. I think maybe she's played the guitar, but it's like been doing comedy to the guitar. I don't know if she can sing. So anyway, so I was going this movie when she's like singing badly. Well, I mean, it's probably her exaggerating her abilities, but I guess she can't sing, therefore no princess song. But looks into the water, princess song. The bylaw, the bylaw, the bylaw of the mouse. All right. So, but I mean, yeah, really well done sequence. And of course, it kind of comes into fruition that you should have to leave Ralph behind and everything. It's where she kind of makes up from Ryan what she wants, and what she wants, of course, is being the slaughter race. So, okay, so the point is that now Ralph and Vanellope are on diverging paths. So again, insecurity virus. Back to that. So,
Yeah, so this is one of the most terrifying things Disney has ever put on screen, and I'll kind of vouch for that sentiment.
it's so well animated, just all.
It's terrifying in more ways than just.
Oh, it's for
It's terrifying in more ways than just appearance alone. like
The
the,
one we have with the zombified
it's
hive
a
mind.
monster that has a whole lot of subtext behind it.
It is, but I do. Well, we'll get to it in a minute. But anyway, so so we take the core of what Ralph's been feeling this whole movie, what we set up so well throughout the movie that Ralph is defined by this kid, and now Ralph's in a very insecure place. It gets scanned, and now he just has this hive mind mentality of all these Ralph clones. Which again, we've turned our and again, this makes so much sense in a Wreck-It Ralph movie where we've taken our bad guy, who again is who's a self accepted role of the bad guy, and made him the bad guy of his own movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yet he's the lead, and again, he's the bad guy against his insecurities.
And then what does he do? He goes and breaks the internet, as the title would suggest.
Yep. Again, for the kids out there who may not get what the intricacies of when you break the internet, you're actually creating a meme or something really buzzworthy. It's going to spread around the whole place, and it's going to grind everything to a halting stop.
Technically, breaking the internet originally did mean making the internet cease to function. So, in ways, it actually plays to the original meaning and the new meaning at the same time.
All right, so it's a bit of both, absolutely. So, but of course, and we do it through the route of scary clones. And of course, these scary clones are very hive mind. They keep saying, friend.
It's almost
Just all of Ralph's.
A couple of shots kind of reminded me of World War Z almost.
I can see that, yeah.
Kind of World War Z meets Pacific Rim in a way.
Yeah, like where they're all climbing all over each other, and where they form the giant Ralph.
If you guys had
virus.
seen Ninja Batman, you'd have a perfect frame of reference for what this is similar to. But just it's to say there's like a giant scene like this done in anime style in Ninja Batman.
I'll have to check that out. I still haven't seen that yet.
It looks amazing actually. The way they pulled something like this, but it's a little. It's not it's not in CG, but it's still just it's kind of like a whole amalgamation of many things, making one giant thing. They're all moving and alive and separate.
Yeah, again, I don't have a ton to say because my mind just instantly goes to like this is dark and this is risky, and I mean this might be one of the darkest things that Disney has done this side of killing Mufasa, and I'm not exaggerating. Like this is I don't know, to me this is like in the textbook of dark Disney. Like this is another like this is like a historically dark chapter in Disney animation for me. And that's why I love the movie so much, because it's that ballsy and it's that risk taking.
Can I get more of a why as to why it's like up against the whole Mufasa thing? To you, like what's just for the folks? Why is it so groundbreaking? Exactly. Why is the insecurity so groundbreaking?
Well, I mean, because like we've been saying, it's like a mix of like just a fucking terrifying imagery and imagery that, by the way, you could not animate in 2D. Like that's one of the things. Like this film is really kind of vouching for Disney, like going in the 3D direction, because this just wouldn't work in 2D. But it's I don't know, man. I just think there's so much subtext behind it. It's like to me, it's really scary because I got to admit, like I am a clingy person in general. Like if I, it's hard for me to make friends. So when I do get into relationships, either with the opposite sex or just a friendship dynamic, I'm usually the one who's like wanting to hang out a lot. And so to see this kind of like represented and manifested and like, no, this is a very dangerous thing. This is like if you overtake someone's life and if you don't let them breathe, this is what happens. There was something very profound and powerful about that. I actually think this is maybe more scary to adults than it is to kids, almost. Because kids are going to see a giant monster, but adults are they're going to kind of see the uncanny quality in the animation, and B, they're going to understand all the subtext behind this. And so, yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like a big part of Disney, like, whoa, a big part of Disney movies is like they lean a lot into comedy nowadays, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but you got to admit a lot of Disney movies are like 90% comedy with maybe like a bit of subtext and drama. I mean, sure, Frozen had subtext and drama, but it didn't necessarily have a big, dark, terrifying moment like this, Like, same thing with Zootopia. Zootopia had kind of like the terrifying implications, but it didn't have the imagery to go along with it to a certain extent. This is like the terrifying implications and the terrifying imagery.
Yes.
I don't know, man. It's up there for me. It's up there. I think it's up there with the darkest things that Disney has ever animated. So, like company wide.
Right. So the moral of it all here, I like that Ralph's ultimate realization. Ralph is confronted with his insecurities. It's really, again, as for all the reasons Tiki said, it is a groundbreaking idea. It's really, it's really again visually shown, and again like seeing the insecurities separate and just seeing again kind of basically Ralph even before they all fused together, seeing the clingy qualities kind of like chasing him and kind of, and again like seeing basically again it kind of. I was talking about now, I'm kind of realizing it is kind of like the comment section scene, where again Ralph is kind of is reflecting on himself a little bit here, and here we're doing it in a literal sense, where he's seeing what he looks like and kind of what he's perceived his insecurity as. Now, again, the ultimate moral, the ultimate lesson that Ralph comes to learn during all this is that you should allow your friends to grow, which would mean the long distance friendship is or what the strong friendships are forged on, just having a trust there, et cetera, and then in fact, despite the fact they've been in each other's lives for 6 years, they can maintain without it. Visit now and again would help, but it's they'll be able to maintain that. Now, I will say this: just to play devil's advocate here. Now, all of that is great. I won't take any of that away. That visual, all of that, and the whole insecurity message, that's phenomenal. It does feel a little bit rushed, though. I feel it kind of happens and it's over, and it's a little on the nose, and it kind of leads to kind of a big. I'm of two minds about it because it is somewhat again Ralph being kind of a boss, like kind of a boss level character, being classically in the video game sense, he's a boss battle. In some
Dragon, I don't feel like it's rushed just because I feel like the whole movie was building to it. Like it's a third act climax to be sure, but I don't know. I don't really think you benefit from this thing having more screen time than it needs to have because it's just like it's such a destructive force in the plot that you really can't have it on screen for that long. I mean, I don't know. I don't see how much more screen time you could give this thing without it wearing at its welcome.
Well, what I mean is we have the breakup, then directly followed by a catastrophe that bonds them together. Like, I don't really feel there was enough time to really kind of for them to miss each other almost. That's the thing.
All right, I can see that. That's fair enough.
That's what I guess that's really what I'm saying here with the whole. When I say rushed, I think it just means it kind of happens like right after another. I don't really know if we have enough time to breathe before all this happens. And even when all that happens, we do kind of basically the big like okay we gotta jump from building to building like that kind of goes on maybe a bit long, but again the idea and where it builds to is great. It just feels like something's off with the timing on that for me, I guess. Also, just a little one jab here. This is not against again that idea is all working fine, but I think the princess jokes. I love the princess come to save the day. That's all great. I do think putting Ralph in a dress is kind of a little on the nose. The way we save Ralph when basically we confronts this thing, and of course, basically his negative insecurity fades away, turns a really nice little visual image of it all turns golden and kind of goes away, disappears. Of course, the logic of it disappearing means, well, Ralph is now falling in midair. He's plummeting right now. Well, plummeting, the princess has come to save the day, which is nice. Oh, look, a big strong man's in trouble. They're going to save him for a change. Nice, but then why did we put him in a dress and do the whole wake up thing? That's where we're overstaying our welcome. It feels like look if you want to read into things like maybe we're a bit of a like we're going too far to the princess joke. That's where we're going with the kind of almost like a pseudo feminist route. It's like come on guys, let's not. We got to put him in a dress. We get it. There's a divide. I understand. Like why that on the nose about it.
All right then.
Alone here.
Rest Dragon. Nah, I'm totally fucking.
I'm
like, sorry.
We need to wake him
sorry.
up. We need to wake him up with Naveen. I don't know. It's a little strange.
I like the Naveen cameo.
I don't know. It just felt kind of weird. Like, why are we doing all this? Why can't we just save him?
Okay, like 2 feet away from me, there was like a little girl. She like yelled out like Prince Naveen.
Okay, that is cute.
And you know what? That right? Adorable.
Okay, I'll give you that. That's an adorable story, but it doesn't solve the problem.
Prince Naveen.
And I also like how they also tied it into Frogger. They're like, oh, thanks, Frogger.
Okay, I'll admit the Frogger joke did help.
Just speaking of the video game characters, one of the things we skipped over that was right at the very beginning. Say.
I'm sorry, was what? Oh, the Sonic
PSA.
Yeah.
Yes, very much like in character with Sonic because like in the Sonic was like that's no good.
It's kind of funny that they actually mentioned like the actor who actually voiced Sonic in the original animated shorts.
Yeah, Roger Craig Smith.
Yeah, he's voiced by Roger Craig Smith here, but Jaleel White, who was actually mentioned in this movie, who played Urkel, also played Sonic in the earlier shorts.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know if that was intentional or not, but
I think that's got to be intentional. It's got to be.
I mean, they mentioned his name as Urkel from Family Matters.
Then he said, played by Julia White.
Yeah, so it could be intentional. It could just be a coincidence. But either way, it's how it works. But
all right. So, But I mean, yeah, you're right about the PSA. And of course, a little fun fact: Roger Craig Smith, voice of Batman, once really good Batman, played young Kevin Conroy in Arkham Origins.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Fun fact. All right, so I guess so again, not much left here. Just like the big ending. Of course, the ending we had the parenting payoff with Felix and Calhoun. Apparently, are excellent parents off screen that we never saw, and they have a secret that we're not going to be able to know because
They were able to, they were able to,
keep going.
they were able to tame 15 kids in under 24 hours.
Which is quite impressive. And again, without this, there'd be no payoff, which would have been terrible. Thankfully, at least we paid off with a fun gag. And a little wink and nod to the folks at home and the parents who are taking their kids to see. It's like, oh boy, yeah, parenting kids not easy. We got you.
It's like wow. I wish every parent could hear that advice.
Yeah.
It was kind of surreal seeing like Tabitha and everyone else be like, he's like, oh yeah, it's okay, everything's okay. It's like, yeah, thank you, good race, everybody.
Basically, Felix and Calhoun taught them pleasantries and manners, which is a-okay in my book. So then we have, let's talk about the very end of the movie. The very end of the movie I thought was really great, where you have Ralph and Vanellope. They're in a good place. They're calling each other, setting up visits. Really nice, full circle storytelling with the two of them hanging out at the very top of it. And then we have a really great, profound ending with Fix It Felix, where
we're basically the last lines of the movie. It's like, are you okay, Ralph? It's like, yeah, like everything. Yeah, I'm fine.
yeah. And it's basically kind of going back to the job. Another grind for Wreck-It Ralph. Just kind of going again. He gets to do what he wants, and she gets to do what she wants, and they'll be fine. They'll be able to be in each other's lives. A really solid ending overall.
Ralph broke my internet.
Ralph.
Damn it, Ralph. We talked about this.
Wreck-It Ralph. And we have a meme of Ralph's face over Nosferatu, just kind of flipping a light switch.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Then who was flickering the internet?
Oh, I was just messing around with it.
Ralph.
You guys hear that they brought back Nosferatu?
Oh God.
All right, so let's speaking of meta stuff, let's talk about post credits.
Yeah, so that first the mid credits is almost more of a mindfuck than the Ralph role, to be honest with you.
I love the mid credit thing because throughout the movie, again, when I saw that little box, I was thinking, wait a minute, yeah, the little bunny and the kitty, where are they? It was the big gag, the big shock gag, and the whole thing, just putting two and two together. Like, okay, obviously they're kind of going through games and stuff, and they're on that the little girls game. How does that happen?
And then I like how they basically acknowledge it's a redress Moana, but then she actually calls her Mo. Like, you guys notice that she calls the girl Mo. That's like they're basically addressing. Yep, this is basically a redress Moana.
It's kind of cute, and it does look. I mean, do you know 100% if it's the same exact design or if it looks very similar to her?
It's apparently, from what I hear, they pretty much basically reused her baby Moana's model, or at least they said that looks extremely similar to her, and they're acknowledging that.
Well, that has happened in animation. They always reuse models in animations. That doesn't surprise me. That's kind of cool if they did that.
So I think that's actually what they did. I could be wrong though.
I hope you're right because I like that idea. Anyway,
it's just on the initial trailers, everyone pretty much pointed out that she looked like Moana, and maybe they added that after that, or they always had that in mind.
So we have a hilarious commentary on the missing trailer because we always rant about trailers and missing scenes and everything. Everybody does because you always when you're in a movie you go with it because of the sales pitch of the trailer, and there's always either too much footage or not enough footage that ends up being in the trailer or the final movie. And we finally acknowledge it on the nose or say, "Well, what'd you think of the movie, Mo? It was good. I just missed that one scene in the trailer though."
Made me kind of sad.
Which is so meta considering how it links up right now. It's like when you take a picture of someone in a mirror or something. It's the ad infinitum picture. It's one of those things.
And it's also very meta because she's like talking about a scene featuring herself.
Yes.
It's like that's That's why the joke works so well.
It does, and then we see it play out. It plays out exactly as you saw it. The trailer. We didn't even need to go through it. It's that poor bunny pop, and it just freaks out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't get to see it, but apparently it's not pretty.
The real thing I want to know is how intentional that was. I wonder if they were working on it, they had that scene in the movie, then they realized, okay, we got to cut the scene from the movie, but we're going to work it in.
I'd like to think that it was like from the get go. They were like, "Hey, let's put let's put the equivalent to the sloth scene from the Zootopia trailer, but let's just it basically be like that. It'd basically be like if the sloth scene from the Zootopia was in the post credits. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, where's the fucking sloth scene?
Yeah.
Oh, that is. It has kind of weight to it. You know what I mean? Because that original bit in the trailer was so memorable. So I would like to think that it was intentional from the get go, that they were like, okay, let's put something in that's really memorable, that's going to get people talking, that's going to get people laughing, that's going to be like, whoa, that's a little subversive for Disney. And then let's not have it in the movie, and then let's have it in the mid credits and make this whole meta joke about it. I don't know. I'd like to think that they're creative enough that they came up with that from the start.
You never know.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Which is interesting because that would, like, in a weird kind of way, make the trailer for this movie part of this movie's plot.
In that minor
It
part,
is so trippy when you think about it that way.
It got people talking. It broke the internet.
It's like the snake eating its own tail effect. It really is.
Okay, just to make what Jacob said even more relevant here. Okay, just get over it because he said something quite brilliant here. But okay, imagine this. Okay, first teaser trailer, you get a Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph breaks the internet. It's about Ralph breaking the internet, and of course, this thing ended up in the movie, as we've said. It breaks the internet just by being called Ralph breaks the internet. So by ipso facto, it's breaking the internet in two ways already. Once you watch the movie, it's breaking the internet in all sorts of ways. Because one, that meme thing, that moment in itself, the old girl watching the video itself broke. It was a kind of internet break, as Amara was talking about that when the trailer came out. Ralph making his grand entrance breaks the internet, and of course, working retroactively into the movie as a little capper.
I wouldn't be surprised, like, considering how subversive and meta this movie has been, I wouldn't be surprised if that was entirely planned out. Like, okay, we're gonna write this scene, we're gonna put it in the trailer, but not include it until after the credits.
And they're calling the girl Mo, as in that girl is a child actress who's in the animated. Okay, I'm going really meta with this strap in. Okay, so when they made Moana, we're going into the kind of the Pixar Bugs Life outtake logic here, where we have the outtakes where we're shooting with animated characters, but they're actually they're actors who are filming the roles. And we have Moana was an actual production that was made, but with CG actors. And those CG actors included a child CG actor, and that child CG actor was this very same little girl named Mo, just by sheer coincidence for the movie Moana. This is what she's doing on the weekend, being a Disney fan. Of course, she was in the Disney film. Therefore, she's seeing Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph breaks the internet, and of course, she gets in this kind of quantum entangled loop of Ralph breaking the internet, and of course, ad infinitum.
Oh God!
Boom.
This is all kinds of weird implications in this one.
And if you want to die, no, I could die for let's not.
Let's just point out the fact that Disney exists in the Wreck-It Ralph universe.
I know, that's what I was about to get into. Like, if you really want to reach in there, because you have the Pixar logic of the outtake universe, and then you have just the oh my Disney of it all. We're in the oh my Disney of it all. They're all existing as themselves, but as digital versions of themselves, quite possibly.
It's
oh man,
it's an infinite
16 walls of meta, baby. 16 walls. Anyway.
Oh gee.
Oh dear.
This movie has a lot to talk about.
And of course, there's the post credit scene where Ralph yet again has broken the internet. And Tiki, imagine this. Imagine if I would, God, I'd love it if they actually posted, if any post credit scene could ever be posted when the movie comes out, it'd be the Frozen 2, be what it is here, the Frozen 2 trailer, the Frozen 2 sneak peek being posted online as a YouTube video by Disney or by officially by them, and people click it, and it's the Wreck-It Ralph Rickroll.
Yes, that would be wonderful. I hope they do that soon, honestly.
that was great. I dubbed it the Ralph roll.
Yes, the Ralph roll. And I just love hearing Ralph like talk to Ralph breaking the fourth wall, talking to the folks at home too. Just telling them like, you can stay if you want. There's nothing really, but you can stay.
It's it's basically not only does Ralph break the internet, he breaks the fourth wall.
Ralph's just breaking everything, man.
And again, I don't know what it is about the way that the Felix dancing animation is shot, but Felix is just so into it, man.
Oh yeah, it was that scene
Also,
that scene was worth sitting to the credits for.
Yeah.
I mean,
Real quick, I love the cookie image, by the way. It's real when the whole basically they're both in a happy, good place where they're both wearing half of the cookie necklace where it's broken. It's just broken perfectly in half. So Ralph is breaking hearts as well as mending them.
He's breaking everything, isn't he?
He's breaking it all, man. This movie might break some box office records. Who knows?
This movie should just be titled Ralph Breaks Everything. I mean, that should be the sequel, Ralph Breaks Everything. Or Ralph Breaks the Disney Universe.
Ralph's gonna have his own single. This is gonna be Ralph. God, just get ready for this. Okay, so Ralph's gonna have a new hit single after his big break with with the Ralph roll, which it's Ralph singing. He's gonna have another one where he's gonna be going even more meta, more cross company with Nickelodeon, where he's gonna steal Dina's money. Darling, you broke my heart.
Oh god.
Okay, I'm gonna go real old school YouTube on y'all. I want to see Ralph do a cover of Chocolate Rain.
I don't really see how that.
Either of you even know what Chocolate Rain is?
Does it involve breaking?
Jacob, do you know about Chocolate Rain?
I don't think I do, honestly.
Look it up.
Okay.
But does it involve breaking?
Chocolate Rain.
It's like a parody of Purple Rain.
No, I can't even explain it. Anyways, I'm sorry I brought it up.
Is it an invasion of chocolate?
No, it's just literally some dweeby guy singing this really emotional song about racism, and he's got like the deepest voice for how much he looks like a tiny dweeb, and that's the gag. It's like
Kind of a Suzanne Boyle effect.
I did not expect this voice to come out of that body.
Gotcha. Right.
And the song itself is actually really deep. Like, it's not a joke song at all.
Right.
I mean,
all right.
We're seeing all kinds of internet culture today.
Well, we've kind of run out of movie here, so I guess final thoughts.
yeah, I mean, I truly think this stands up with the best of them in terms of animated sequels. I really do. I mean, a couple plot holes or, characters acting out a character aside. It's like the world building is fantastic. I feel like they sacrificed the ensemble for basically making Ralph and Vanellope really, really well-rounded, and I feel like that's a good trade-off. I feel like, these two main characters plus a select few others like like Yes and Chang. Yeah. It's a good, well-rounded cast, and it does some of the darkest, most emotionally, the darkest implications that I've seen in a Disney movie in a long time, and I really appreciate the balls that this movie has. And just also in terms of animation, I feel like this is one of the few Disney movies that I can look at and I can be like, this movie would not work in 2D animation. Like, this movie truly functions in the 3D realm. You could not do this as a 2D Disney movie.
But the real question
as a 2D Disney movie. You could do Tangled as a 2D Disney movie. I would even say you could do the original Wreck-It Ralph as a 2D Disney movie. You cannot do this as a 2D Disney movie. And so for that, I feel like it's almost kind of groundbreaking in a way, just the way that they truly envision the world, and it's by far the best representation of the internet I've ever seen on screen. I love the fact that the villain is Ralph's insecurities and the way that that's built up throughout the film and then visualized in the third act. It's all really clever. I'm pretty damn high on this movie. I'd say it's probably I'd say at this point it's probably number 3 of my 2018 list, right behind Won't You Be My Neighbor and Bad Times at the El Royale.
Way to spoil things.
I'm sorry.
You get two questions.
That could change. We still have a lot of movies to get to in December.
Real quick, would you say it? It broke new ground.
It broke new ground.
Keyword broke, or the other prefix of it, break. Other thing, could we see Wreck-It Ralph 3 in 8-bit animation?
Oh my god, I'd love that, dude.
The whole movie. We're talking 2D, we're talking 3D, but 8-bit. That's the future.
I'd at least love a Wreck-It Ralph 8-bit short. That would be
They could
great.
do that. They could definitely get away with that. All right. Yeah.
I was saying they could definitely do that. Whether they do even do the sequel or any short of that would be that'd be an entirely different matter.
Oh well, you know something though, on the making of documentary on Wreck-It Ralph, like the bonus features, they actually had making of they had 8-bit interludes that get you from segment to segment of all the characters animated in 8-bit. So it's kind of the closest thing we have to something like that. It's no short, but it's close. All right. Well, for me, final thoughts are, I think it's a good movie. It's more of what I love about Wreck-It Ralph and this creative team who've been killing it with the new with what's the name of the new Renaissance again? What's the
I think
the revival era.
The revival. It's
Disney revival.
Yeah, it's killing it with the Disney revival right now. It's been killing it. This creative team has been doing wonders. I mean, Jennifer Lee. Here's the thing: Jennifer Lee did not work on this movie, and I think I don't know 100%. I'm inferring. I think that's maybe that's the missing factor for what I've been playing. I think maybe that's it, because maybe that was like the one that was something missing for that little weak spot. For me is that there's nothing. Yeah, I want to make clear there's nothing wrong with this movie, but there's a weak spot definitely that I shouldn't be seeing on a first viewing. I shouldn't be feeling like there's something a little off about this. I shouldn't be feeling that. I usually noodle that sort of thing. I shouldn't be feeling that while I'm watching for the first time, having a great time with the rest of the movie.
I wouldn't necessarily say that would be Jennifer Lee's doing though.
Well, I'm saying her not being. That's what I'm saying. Maybe like she's the X Factor, could have avoided that, but we don't know. And I'm not saying it's not.
Technically, she did act as an executive producer for the last few months of it.
Oh, all right. I guess that's fair. I mean, I'm saying she was one of the writers on it the first time around, but it's.
I mean, ever since she took over creative duties at Disney Animation.
All right. So, but yes, so definitely, on the whole, though, I want to make it clear. So this definitely delivered on the hype. Like all the excitement I was feeling, I definitely got my money's worth of this. I really enjoyed this movie. It's very fun all around. I don't think it's groundbreaking, but I think it's consistent with what I loved, and it lived up to Wreck-It Ralph. It's hard for me to say. I don't know if I can put it over the original or not, because they're both great in different ways. I think this one killed in the world building, where the first one was cozy in the world building. This one set out more and they did more with the world building. But again, like I really love the character arc of Ralph in that first movie and what Ralph does there. But the friendship, again, it's kind of, they're great in different ways, I guess, is what I'm saying. But they're both, as a whole franchise, it's a lot of fun. I would love to see more. So, yeah.
I'll say this. Though it would be great to see more, I mean, I have to admit it'd be kind of hard to go. I mean, how do you top breaking the internet? I mean, if this is definitely the last we ever see of Ralph and his pals, I mean, I'd definitely say we ended on a high note.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I think we ended on a high note regardless. I mean, like, if we do see more of them, that's fantastic. It would have to be bigger and better than this. And how do you, in the case of this kind of storytelling, how would you get bigger and better than the internet?
Well, there's always other Wreck-It Ralph characters, or other video game characters we could do in the universe. There's always that, too.
Well, I mean, true. Well, I guess that is true, but it'd still be kind of a hard sell.
That's true.
I mean, it wouldn't be the same without Ralph or Vanellope and all that. But I guess that's the appeal of the world. You get to see more of the world that they've created, and I guess that wouldn't entirely be a bad thing in itself.
Could do a spin-off TV show like we have Big Hero 6, only it would be 2D and it would be with tappers. It'd be like kind of the Cheers equivalent on the new Disney streaming service.
Do it, do it.
Tappers.
I mean, that would be some licensing issues, though.
And we could, if we lumped in Oh My Disney, we could bring in Kelsey Grammer as the prospector, but as Dr. Fraser Creighton.
God. There's all kinds of roads they could take this, but so like I'd love to see more, but like I said, it's definitely not on a high note. If it's the last we ever see of Ralph and his friends, I'd like to see more of Ralph and of Felix and Calhoun, but what we got of them in this movie was good enough. I don't know. I was really impressed with this movie, and like Dragon, I got my money's worth. In hindsight, it's a really well made movie. Like I think that it does take quite a few risks with it, with the way, especially in considering to its predecessor. I don't know if honestly I'm with Dragon. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence between you two. I think it had in some places better than the original, but in some places I think the original did it better. But it just goes to show how competent of a movie it's made, and as long as Disney keeps making movies like this, I think they're gonna have a good thing going for quite a while.
All right, folks, that'll do it. The only other Disney movie we have to cover this year is Mary Poppins Returns, which I'm so nervous and excited for at the same time. I'm like holding my breath. I'm like, please don't suck. Please be at least good. Preferably, please be great. So we'll see how that goes. I think that is a little bit more of a hurdle to overcome than Ralph Breaks the Internet. I feel like Ralph Breaks the Internet was more of a surefire. Like, at the very least, it'd be like an Incredibles 2 style. Like, yeah, that was a good follow up. And I feel like it kind of leans more on the other side of things, not to diss Incredibles 2, but this is more like it's more than a good follow up. It's a great follow up. So.
And as you said, if Mary Poppins is half as good as Ralph, it's still going to be a good movie.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, folks. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.
Like, watch out for more. Don't let Ralph break your internet.
Oh God, bears!